Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Anita Black. In this class, as we know, we're talking about the children victims of sexual abuse. And this week, we're focusing on those risk factors that could increase a risk for a child to become a victim. And as it stated in your book, in that little section, this is not about victim blaming at all. That's not what we're talking about this week. We're talking about, or within this presentation, I just want to talk to you about some of those characteristics that could increase a child's risk at being sexually abused. I found a really good article and I posted it within the class in the module, and it's a study by the same author of your book, David Finkelhor, and it's on the website Crimes Against Children Research Center. And actually, if you click on this link, I'll make sure I put it in here. I put the link within the module. So the prevalence of child sexual abuse is difficult to be determined because it's often not reported. Experts agree that the incidence is really far greater than what is reported to authorities. CSA is also not uniformly defined, as we saw in the first couple modules here. So the statistics can vary. Statistics below that in the next few slides represent some of the research that has been completed on child sexual abuse. Some researchers actually say that we should only study the offenders so that we don't lead to the victim blaming. But again, it's not always easy to study the offenders. According to the study, 1 in 5 girls and 1 in 20 boys is a victim of child sexual abuse. Self-report studies show that 20% of adult females and 5 to 10% of adult males can recall a childhood sexual assault or a sexual abuse incident. During a 1-year period in the U.S., 16% of youth ages 14 to 17 have been sexually victimized. Over the course of their lifetime, 28% of U.S. youth ages 14 to 17 have been sexually victimized. Children are most vulnerable to CSI between the ages of 7 and 13. And according to the 2003 National Institute of Justice report, that is also within your module, 3 out of 4 adolescents who have been sexually assaulted were victimized by someone they knew, and they knew well. Here's another study website that I put within the module, and it's from Child Sexual Abuse Statistics from the National Center for Victims of Crime. A Bureau of Justice report shows 1.6%, which is 16 out of 1,000, of children between the ages of 12 and 17 were victims of either rape or sexual assault. Another study that was conducted in '86 found that 63% of women who had suffered sexual abuse by a family member also reported a rape or attempted rape after the age of 14. Recent studies in 2000, 2002, and 2005 have all concluded with the similar results. More recent studies within the last 5-10 years have also concluded the similar results. Children who had an experience of rape or attempted rape in their adolescent years were 13.7 times more likely to experience rape or attempted rape in their first year of college. Also, a child who is the victim of prolonged sexual abuse usually develops low self-esteem, a feeling of worthlessness, and an abnormal or distorted view of sex. The child may become withdrawn and mistrustful of adults and can become suicidal. As I've said, or I'm not sure I have said in this class, I worked with juvenile sex offenders for 8 to 10 years, and this is exactly what I saw. I worked with the offenders, but 95% of the boys that I worked with were also victims. Also, children who do not live with both parents, as well as children living in homes marked by parental discord, divorce, or domestic violence, also have a higher risk of being sexually abused. In the vast majority of cases where there is credible evidence that a child has been penetrated, only between 5 and 15% of those children will have genital injuries consistent with sexual abuse. This is another reason that it's very difficult to really know the number and the percentage of those that have actually been sexually abused. Child sexual abuse is not solely restricted to physical contact. Such as abuse could include non-contact abuse, such as exposure, voyeurism, and child pornography. And we're going to see more about this as we continue in the class. Compared to those with no history of sexual abuse, males who were sexually abused were 5 times more likely to cause teen pregnancy, 3 times more likely to have multiple sex partners, and 2 times more likely to have unprotected sex. Now, this is according to the Journal of Adolescent Health. Some little bit of good news. From 1990 to 2007, substantiated cases of child sexual abuse have declined 53%, and physical abuse substantiations declined 52%. Child neglect declined only 6%, mostly fluctuating over the same time period. But again, we have to take in to effect is, as we said, it's underreported. What are these statistics the result of? From 1993 to 2005, sexual assaults on teenagers decreased by 52%. The subgroup of assaults by known persons also decreased even more dramatically. Now, there are other crimes against children 12 to 17 years old have also declined, and this is just a comparison for you to see. Aggravated assault down 69, simple assault down 59, robberies down 62%, and larceny is down 54%. And you'll see below, this is comes from the article from UNH.edu. The next part I want to talk about is coming from a study on risk factors for child sexual abuse victimization. And this is a meta-analysis that's published in the Psychological Bulletin. I have included this as well within the slides, and I'll make sure it's within the module. A substantial number or significant risks were identified in this study. The results showed that the most important risks refer to prior CSA and non-CSA victimization of children and or family members. Other relevant risks refer to different types of problems and characteristics of parents, the family system, and the child itself. The non-nuclear family structure also poses a risk for CSA victimization. And one of the theories that has commonly been used in predicting risk for crime victimization of youth is the routine activities theory, and we talk about this in our theory class. And this was posed by Cohen and Felsen in 1979. Central to this theory is that children's activities can lead to environments or situations where they may come into contact with potential offenders. Thus, by undertaking certain activities, they put themselves at risk for victimization. Of course, this is not their fault at all. It just shows that by being in these activities, it could increase their potential to be abused. A non-nuclear family structure may also pose a risk for CSA victimization. The study found that a child growing up in a non-nuclear family and a child having a stepfather are both significant risk. Also, I think I left some out. Many studies found prior to this meta-analysis that a child being female is a relatively strong risk factor for child sexual abuse. I'm sorry for the outside noise. Those are my dogs coming in and out. Some of the problems in the functioning of the family system also increases risk factors, such as social isolation of the family or child, a low family SES. These were significant risk domains. An additional family characteristic that proved to be a risk factor was a substantial times, maybe 6 or more moves or resettlements of the child and their family. Finally, there were several child problems and other child characteristics that could be identified in this meta-analysis as risk factors. As for child problems, they found that a physical and or mental chronic condition may put children at a risk for CSA victimization, as well as using drugs or engaging in violent delinquent behavior. Child characteristics that increase the risk for CSA victimization are a low level of the social skills of the child that can include shyness and also a child's frequent use of the internet. Some more factors that were identified in the meta-analysis include parenting problems and difficulties that parents may experience themselves. They found a significant effect for a low quality of the parent-child relation, including low parental attachment. This again relates back to the attachment theory. They also found effects from parental overprotection, low levels of parental care, affection, and a low sense or levels of sense of the parenting competence. In this class, we're not talking about the treatment for sexual abuse, even though, as I said, that's where I worked with boys, was in a treatment facility for those who were offending. But as I said, 95+% were also victims. But the meta-analysis indicated that knowledge of these risk factors is not only essential in determining who should receive preventive treatment, but also in determining what care needs must be met to reduce the risk of victimization. So what they're talking about is, if we can identify the risk, and some that I've reported here, maybe they can be predetermined, maybe they can be prevented. A theoretical framework for delivering effective treatment in which risk factors play a critical role is the risk-need responsivity model, the RNR. If anybody has any questions on this, please post. Also, if there's a topic that we're studying and you'd like more information on, or you'd like me to do a quick presentation, just let me know through email. I'll be more than happy to take care of that.